So what's your question?
Governor, thank you for taking my
I think it's unlikely I'm going to be arrested, so why don't you ask me the question?
Okay. It's a little difficult.
Go ahead.
Can I wait 1 minute, please? Okay. Thank you for taking my question.
You're very welcome.
I'm here today to express my concerns. I'm a public school teacher, and I've heard you talking a lot about numbers and figures and the charts. Please hear my story, because I feel I represent thousands of others of state workers, particularly teachers. I've been a teacher for 27 years. I never went into it for the money. Never expected to be rich. I love teaching. I still do, and I'm blessed. When I started teaching in 1985, I started at $12,000, where my friends who went to college as well and went into the corporate world, they started at $50,000, $60,000 and laughed at me. How could you take a job with that? I didn't think anything of it because, again, I never expected or wanted to be rich. That doesn't mean anything to me. I make a difference every day in the kids' lives. I won Teacher of the Year 5 years ago, and I think I'm good. That being said, Governor, I have worked, and I started at $12,000, then it went up to $18,500. Counting on those benefits, the pension, when I retired. And I really feel that you are favoring the affluent.
Really?
Yes, I do.
How so?
I do.
How so?
I feel with the corporate tax benefits that you're giving to corporations, the Exxon, I'd like you to please address that.
Sure.
That Exxon deal.
Yeah.
You
know a lot about that?
I know that you could have gotten more money on the dollar.
Do you?
Do I know?
Do you
I
know
would
that,
like,
really? You know that?
Governor,
I mean, do you know that? I want to know how you know that. Because you're a teacher.
Yes.
And you're standing in front of students every day, conveying to them facts,
yes,
things that they need to learn. So I'd like to understand your analysis of how you know that in a 10-year-long court case that you have enough detail to know.
Can you
that
please
you could have gotten more.
enlighten me?
Well, no, because I'd like to know what you know, because you started off by saying, I know you could have gotten more money. And so let's have an interchange.
Okay.
But then you
Could you
don't know
please
it, right?
enlighten me then? I'm not here to be bullied. I'm not here to be bullied.
By the way, you're not being bullied because you're asking me questions. I get to ask you questions back. If you're going to make an assertion, of fact as a teacher who people in the community respect as a truth teller, then I'd like to know where you get your information to say to this entire group, I know you could have gotten more money.
From my reading. And
of what?
If I'm wrong.
Of what?
From whom? Governor, could you please enlighten me?
Well, I will, but why don't you finish your question? I'll enlighten you on all of it.
Okay. I have read in the newspaper that you could have gotten more from Exxon, and therefore, perhaps that could have gone to the pension. Or perhaps you did address taxing the millionaires a little bit more. What about, was there a cost for the Pearson testing? Did that cost a lot? In other words, what I'm saying is, in my mind, it's a matter of priorities. And I do feel that to a certain extent, you are throwing state workers under the bus.
Really?
Yes, I do feel that way.
By the way, I've made, as you heard, $4.2 billion in payments to the pension system in the last 5 years, when the previous 5 governors over 15 years made $3.4 billion in payments. $800 million less in 15 years than I've made in 5. I made reforms to the pension system in 2011, which if we had not done that, the pension system would be significantly compromised today. Lastly, you're talking about needing another $3 billion a year, every year, to pay for the benefits that you're saying you want to receive. Now, your salary started at $12,000, it went to $18,000, and I'm sure it's not $18,000 today after 27 years.
No.
And what has happened over the course of time in New Jersey is that teacher salaries have gone up significantly, markedly from where they were in the mid-'80s. In fact, in the mid-'80s, teachers were very poorly paid in New Jersey because of Senator Kane's father. In 1985, he gave a significant increase to teacher payments during that period of time. And now, because local school boards have negotiated that up until the time that the cap was put into effect 4 years ago, Teacher salaries were going up at a significantly higher level than inflation in New Jersey over the course of the last 20 years. And so the circumstances are not nearly the same as they were in 1985. Fact is, your union over the course of time has asked for significantly higher benefits, more expensive benefits that your union knew the state could not afford and that local school districts could not afford. Property taxes went up 70% in the last 10 years, largely on the back of increased education spending, since at least 2/3 of every property tax bill, if not more, goes to paying of the public schools. That's on top of the $12 billion this year that the state is giving directly back to school districts to pay for public schools.
True, but several years ago, Governor, you did cut too.
No. In fact, today, we pay more today, and in 4 out of the 5 years of my governorship, we have increased aid to the public school system in 4 out of the 5 years. And the 1 year it went down was because federal funding of $1 billion was eliminated because President Obama did not renew the stimulus plan that spent $1 billion in New Jersey in 1 year. Not state money, federal money that was a one-shot, non-recurring revenue that came from the federal government in 2009. So we have not reduced spending on public schools. In fact, we've increased the amount of state money that's spent in public schools every year. Every year. In fact, we pay $17,700 per pupil per year in New Jersey. That is the highest per pupil rate of pay of any state in America. So it does not add up. I know you don't want to talk about the numbers, but the numbers don't add up. In fact, if we do what we need to do here, your pension will be protected. But you can't have Platinum Plus health benefits anymore. Can't have them. When I became governor, teachers in this state paid nothing towards their health insurance. Zero towards their health insurance. There's not a class of employees in this state who pay nothing towards their health insurance. The fact is, this system needs to be rejiggered because it is unaffordable, and you cannot have Platinum Plus benefits. So I understand what you believe you're entitled to.
It's not an entitlement.
It is an entitlement.
I feel we've earned it.
How?
Because
you pay a fraction of the money for the benefits you're going to get. You will take out in pension hundreds of thousands of dollars more than you put in. In health benefits, you get $26,000 a year subsidy on your health benefits. A $26,000 a year subsidy every year, by the way, through death. Not just while you're working, but through death. It's the numbers simply don't add up. I would love to be able to stand here and tell you, you know what? No problem. We'll pay for all of it. Now, as to the Exxon case, what you may not understand is that the Exxon case is going to get a lot more than $225 million. Exxon has to pay for the cleanup in Linden and in the other refinery in Rahway without any restriction on the amount it costs them. It has to be cleaned up back to the condition that's acceptable by the DEP. And whatever that costs Exxon, they have to pay it. On top of that, they're paying another $225 million. So no one knows at this point exactly how much it's going to cost, but it's going to cost significantly more than $225 million. And in fact, the DEP commissioner who started this suit back then said the whole thing should only be a few $100 million. We're $225 million for the trouble of having sued them, plus cleanup. So, you know, the fact is that none of that, by the way, none of that would help to solve the pension problem, because even if I got double that from Exxon, I got $450 million. So now we could take $225 million and put it towards the pension. We need $3 billion a year additional every year for as long as the eye can see.
Okay,
to pay for benefits at that level.
I do understand what you're saying, and I don't want to take up any more time. But we do have to consider the fact that for years, teachers were initially receiving the lower salaries.
Right,
for years, because of the pension, because the payout would be at the end.
And you're going,
you know,
by the way,
these charts,
27 years, you're going to receive your pension. The only way you won't is if we don't make these changes. Notice that the changes I talked about don't reduce your pension one dime. They don't reduce your payout one dime. You freeze it for new members so new members don't get in. What you lose is you go from Platinum Plus benefits to Gold benefits. That's what you lose. Now, to be quite candid, I don't think there's anybody in this society, given what it costs, who deserves Platinum Plus health benefits. It just is unaffordable to pay $31,000 a year every year for health benefits, and $26,000 of that being subsidized by the taxpayers. And by the way, before I got here, all $31,000 was subsidized by the taxpayers. Teachers made no contribution to their health insurance. So the fact is, anyone would look at the all-in deal. You're getting a $26,000 subsidy on your health insurance from the day you start till the day you die, every year. And you're getting a defined benefit pension that is $13,000 higher than what the national average is for teachers. So add that on top of it. Now we're talking about a nearly $40,000 subsidy every year that the taxpayers of New Jersey are giving the teachers. That is in addition to your salary. In addition to your salary. And that stays through the entire time until you pass away.
I understand that.
So, you know, at some point, these folks can't afford to pay that anymore. They simply can't.
I'm a taxpayer too, though.
I understand, but what you pay in taxes is a fraction, as one person towards what's being contributed to what you're getting. And so I didn't come out here and say you shouldn't get what you're getting. And under the plan that I put forward, you're going to get exactly what you've been promised. But let me tell you how you won't. I want to stand up and fight this and say, no, Governor, you should just pay it. It's not possible for it to be paid. There are not enough taxes in this state to be raised. There are not enough Exxon settlements to be made to be able to pay an extra $3 billion a year every year for as far as the eye can see. So here's what will happen. At $9 billion a year payout with $80 billion a year in the fund, do the math. It will not be long until the pension system will be broke. And then when it's broke, like it was in Detroit, so this is not a theoretical argument, this happened. It happened, not only in Detroit, but in a couple of smaller municipalities too. Fact is, when it goes broke, then there's no place else to go. And so your choice is, do you want to have the type of reform that's going to be necessary to secure your retirement's future, or do you want to roll the dice? So you roll the dice. Listen, it's going to happen long after I'm gone. So it's going to happen on someone else's watch. And the easiest thing in the world for me to do would be just say, hey, I'll make whatever payments I can make. You guys keep doing what you're doing, and best of luck. But the fact is that it is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. When combined with the salaries that have been increased over the course of time and with the taxes that have been raised over the course of time to support those salaries, it's unsustainable. And anybody who comes into a room like this and tells you anything different is just as guilty as all the governors who came before me, who made these promises and had no pathway to pay for them. I said this to the firefighters when I met with them 5 years ago, and they booed me because I wanted pension reform. I said, you know, I don't get it. Why are you booing the first guy to tell you the truth? You think I want to come in this room and give anything but good news? I'm in politics. I'd love to give nothing but good news. But I can't. I simply can't. These charts, the numbers, are the numbers. They don't lie. This is what they are. And you could wish it away, but wishing it away ain't going to be the solution to this problem. And when it goes broke and you have no pension and no health benefits, that's going to be a really sad and sorry day and an irresponsible day for not only the leaders of this state, but for the leaders of your union, because they're supposed to be there to protect you too. And part of protecting you is telling you the truth. And the truth is, they know this isn't affordable either. They know it's not. Can't be afforded.
Thank you.